I know the people that this stuff is for, and it's for the technical users. It's for us. It's for people who are ready to get to the next level. Can we get a 4 billion parameter model to beat Claude in a mech arena?
So you got me thinking BattleBots, dude. Welcome back to Build It Faster. We are your hosts, Mike and well, no, Mike's not here yet. It's just me and Josh for now. He's not replacing Mike. I know a lot of you have been asking for that, but Mike will join us later. Um, Josh, what have you been up to, bud?
Hello. It's been a while, man. Yeah, just building stuff pretty much. Yeah, I think gosh, how long has it been? 6 weeks or something like that since we last chatted?
As- It's been a
Time.
million
I
agent
feel
years. I'll tell you
yes,
that. You know.
exactly. Yeah, things move rather fast these days. Uh yeah, I think last time we were hanging out, we were just kind of I was trying to figure out kind of what the purpose of building everything was. I think there was a lot of talk around is shipping even the point. And so that's kind of what a lot of my time has been spent, or last, I guess, however long it's been, uh, just trying to refocus and trying to figure out what that means. And so, yeah, a lot of it's just been uh, redefining what success looks like for me, right? And I think as I as we kind of discussed last time, I think yeah, shipping the product isn't the end goal, right? I think shipping patterns and kind of outputting content differently, right? It's not about a demo. A demo shouldn't be an artifact. It should be the lessons learned from that sprint and the work around that, right? And sharing that and perhaps the code involved with that. But yeah, just moving away from shipping products and trying to ship patterns that people can use. And then in the meantime, working on kind of some bigger plans. I've got a kind of a business partner now. My friend, he's a product manager. He's been helping me out with some things, and we've been kind of reframing a lot. So yeah,
Well, I was gonna ask you, who are you shipping the patterns to? You know, like a for shipment to occur. If a dev builds something in the forest and there's no one around to npm install it, did he build something?
sure. Well, I
Right?
think
And so, you know, what are these patterns, or maybe what are you excited that this person is engaged with you about?
yeah. So he's really helping kind of yeah fill out that last mile for me, and we're just kind of looking at well, essentially, he's looking to get more into building. He's got quite a bit of experience with agents and programming, but he's been wearing the product hat a bit more, so he's wanting to get into building. So essentially, I'm setting him up through all this stuff and getting him more comfortable with some of the agent flows and just some of the distributed system flows I've been working with. And in that, kind of capturing those lessons and that knowledge as things to share, right? So essentially, the things that are being shipped are the patterns that we're leaving by as we're racing towards our kind of larger goals. They're there for anybody to npm install it as they want, but I think moving away from stopping to hold people's hands and more just moving towards the future and the vision that I've kind of had, and now that me and my friend Matt have. And so, yeah, just working towards distributed systems, a lot of kind of federated agent ideas. Been really hooked on gRPC protocol for like wiring.
Okay.
That's been really powerful. So, yeah, essentially, I'm done building applications for people. I build applications for agents and for other systems. And through that, I'm working on the kind of from day one on all my projects is a fine tuning loop, and it's data first, spec driven, and then I build a harness around that. And then, so essentially, the agents are fine tuning all the projects themselves and are able to benchmark and kind of yeah, essentially development as like reinforcement learning in a way. So
Fine tuning. You're talking about like the LoRa, the low rank adapter, I believe it
no,
is.
not in
You're
there.
talking about are you to what upon what are you fine tuning? You know, can you give me maybe an example?
Yeah, so one of the kind of areas I'm interested in exploring is just benchmarking. Um, agents. And, there's a billion coding benchmarks you can go through. There's, all these various things. But what I've been interested in, kind of we've talked about for a long time, is kind of these more like entertainment and game experiences with these systems. So what I've been doing, kind of working around with that federated agent idea, is I've been building out SDKs that connect to a central kind of a host. And this is the idea of the federated agent. So you can have an agent on your side, build out the SDK, and I have an agent on my side, build the SDK, and these agents now can join this service together. And what I've been building out, I've got several different paths going. But yeah, one of the ideas we're building out is kind of essentially a PvP arena for agents, right? So ship the SDK, it has a basic agent, maybe a few archetypes. And between adjusting that agent, adjusting the prompts, adjusting its tool set, you're changing how that agent behaves in the arena. And so through that matchup in that process, you don't have any control, but it comes back and you get the traces, and you have full stack traces that you're able to audit and see what happened and try to adjust the agent's prompting and tooling in order to perform better. And so through that process, it's all about setting up the observability and fine tuning from day one, right? So I've been really heavy in that. And so through that process, you're gaming, you're learning how to build agents and agentic systems and think about them.
You said PvP, and it comes to mind you're literally pitting one agent against the other in some shared environment, or are they PvP like you and me both having a turn on Pac-Man to see whose number winds up bigger?
So the first one we have set up is a full mech simulation. It's similar to BattleTech or any of these like heavy strategy kind of turn-based games, right? And so it's a very complex system where the agents have to manage heat output, they have to manage spatial awareness, they have to manage what the other agent is potentially observing, right? You got to think about what a human needs when they're playing a game, right? I don't just need you can't just get the rules and just kind of expect to figure it out. You have to have some kind of strategy. You have to know what the other person's thinking, that kind of thing. So it's a really interesting benchmark for these agents. But through that, building out the systems and the fine-tuning data in order to facilitate that. And so the idea is I want to start working towards edge models and things more, and just seeing how small these models can go. And so can we get a 4 billion parameter model to beat Claude in a mech arena, right?
So you got me thinking BattleBots, dude. Have you ever seen BattleBots? Do you remember
this?
Of
course. This is right? Yes, this is what I'm doing.
This is what you're doing? Okay, so I have the picture in my mind, right, of BattleBots where people bring it, but it's autonomous and it's harnessed and embodied, but not like literally robot fights, which is also going to definitely turn into a thing if it's not already. I actually saw a bunch of people shaking money at two robots kung fuing each other.
China's all about it right now.
Yeah, but BattleBots, can I play?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I've got the system, I've got the leaderboard all set up. And so this week is just kind of refining it and setting it up to, get the benchmarking in place. So anyways, there was some kind of talk about this last week, and I mentioned to you and Mike, there was some excitement around a demo I was building. And so I've actually got a full 3D demo where the agents are bouncing around, and yes, but we're not shipping that because it is against kind of just where we're heading in the company, right? And I've got a full 2D rendering system. I've got some pretty cool stuff to show here in a couple days. But ultimately, it was just that kind of having Matt here now, just kind of bouncing the ideas off and trying to define what it is we want to ship. And instead of spending the last couple of days trying to polish up this 3D demo to share with y'all, as I was really excited to do, it was, instead I spent the last couple of days working on the brand voice and kind of actually setting up some contracts for what we're looking to do and deliver. I think we've talked about it a few times, but it's more important now than ever when we can literally do anything, right? Build anything, pivot anywhere you want, and drop a dime to really set those constraints for ourselves. Any good artist is going to tell you that like the creativity comes out of those limitations, right? If you can reach for every medium at any given time and put it together, like you're going to be pretty lost.
That's interesting, and it's interesting too that you've got the discipline to put down the shiny thing, right, and try to pull off the brand voice. And you said like the company, Matt. I'm hearing a little bit more sounds like concrete orientation here. What does success look like then, or is it that concrete? Like what are you then working on? You're making a brand voice, but to the end of publishing
uh,
this 3D thing you were working on? Like, is that still the
mm,
product, but you're not spending the
no
time on it,
product,
but it's still
all
part of what
patterns.
you're
So
doing? Or what'd you pivot to? What's the beachhead?
the, these are all directions towards the end goal of being the indie hacker lab that outputs open source content, right? It's not shipping products, it's shipping patterns. And I have this vision of a much larger kind of federated system, but there's a bunch of pieces in place that I need to get there. So it's basically building out those pieces to get to that end goal. And those pieces are then released as educational chunks and example code bases. And they're fully ready to go, fully shippable, but I'm not going to spend the time to try to bring everybody in, right? It's there for when people come in and discover the ecosystem, but we're more of working on establishing our own patterns and systems and toolings and sharing the lessons from that, right? And so yeah, the beachhead is just kind of building out these environments, these worlds, and these federated systems. It's not like a single product; it's a kind of full idea of how I see these systems working together. And I'll definitely have more kind of concrete information on there. That's some of the stuff we're working out this week, as far as just the details and how to kind of talk about some of those things. But yeah, like I said, it's about building systems for these AI agents and not slowing and try not to spend as much time slowing down to bring people up to speed. It's like I know the people that this stuff is for, and it's for the technical users. It's for us. It's for people who are ready to get to the next level. I've spent so much of my time thinking about how to build UX and systems in a way that allow people who aren't familiar with AI and working with these systems to work and use them better. But in doing some of that, it's kind of slowed down my own learning process and my own kind of trajectory of where I want to go, right? So it's been good to just like really nail down the fundamentals, but I'm ready to kind of move on, and I don't really, I think I've put out the information for the people that I want to hear it, right? And I'm excited to see like my friends, you and Matt, kind of carry on. But yeah, it's a means of building out this world and this system as I want. And if somebody wants to hire us to help them build out those systems, that's totally awesome. But
Consulting kind of maybe an angle. Am I gonna see proto something rather up on some of these leaderboards that I'm often getting hyped up in Twitter, or are you more of
right,
a Dex at human layer situation where you're building patterns to enable people to do real things? Because like,
yeah,
I look to Dex at human layer for his guidance and how to make use of these patterns. He's not showing up in leaderboards
yeah.
for his patterns being applied. He's applying the patterns, right?
Exactly, because that's exactly right. Because yeah, I would love to end up on a leaderboard, but I'm not going to chase that because the things I'm fine tuning for are specific to my workflows and the things I want to achieve, right? And so, yeah, I mean, it's great if I can fine tune a model to get number one on some benchmark, but if it doesn't actually move the needle forward on what I want to see and do in my ecosystem, then there's no point for me to chase that benchmark, right? I think if there is some kind of benchmark that it happened, like if I have a fine-tuned model that happens to generalize on a benchmark really well, like I'd be happy to do that. But it's more of, yeah, fine-tuning the systems and being able to use smaller models to output the things I want to do cheaper, faster, better, right? I just got my first Rust app building. I'm looking for, yeah, I'm looking to get faster. I'm looking to get, tighter. Like it's just, that's what I'm looking at. I'm continuing to refine my techniques so that the next app has everything in place to end-to-end ship, right? And so that's where Matt and I are kind of working on, is automating all those pieces, the GTM pieces, the kind of the next steps that we don't necessarily want to deal with, but we know that we need to, right?
if you're going to connect to it, because I mean, even if you're not expecting to have a paying customer for these outputs, you're still hoping to gain some kind of adoption, possibly establishing distribution, right, where people are following you, they're watching your content.
Hmm.
Um, are are you going to start a YouTube channel? Are you going
Yeah,
to
yeah,
start
no.
doing like
So
video content, like
that's
where
yeah, that's
where can
and
people
that's a
start?
big
Where can people start following? Like, what's that going to look like?
yeah, just about using the channels I already have set up more, right? So yeah, I'd be getting on Twitch and YouTube and yeah, just getting out there. It's kind of been a point of anxiety for me, just like kind of taking that dive to jump out and deal with people on the internet because I honestly would rather just spend the time with you and the people that I like to hang out with, right? And sharing the information with you. But yeah, so that's just kind of the big piece that we're working on and making that feel less of a big step, and automating some of those pieces and making it more and trying to gamify some of that, right? Like trying to figure out how to gamify because for me, I think there was a point in my life where just seeing the likes and the shares and stuff was the reward, right? But I don't get dopamine from that anymore, and so trying to figure out how to yeah get the same fun and joy I get out of building with the rest of the kind of go to market pipeline, right? Uh, I've spent a long time trying to make that work for development, and I've gotten there. So now it's just kind of branching out. But
So your ecosystem, because I mean, without some of the more concrete examples, the PvP one was very cool. It's hard to imagine what it is that you're like specifically excited about. I know
oh
this
yeah,
go to market stuff is what you're currently dealing with, but I know you're looking forward to something. What's that current thing you were looking at? Maybe we can talk about some of the things you've been working on. I know
yeah.
you had that audio pipeline stack that looked pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
Was
just
it
one of
Orb?
several
Orb?
experiments. Like, so I've got the Protomaker still, the Dark Factory. I've just kind of rehashed that and rebuilding it in order to get Matt in. So we'll have a kind of dual like Dark Factory system. So that's gonna be fun to kind of play with. And just kind of went in and stripped that down to a lot of the basics. Yo, Mike, how's it going, man?
There he is. Nice of
Hey,
you to join us.
thanks. Nice to be
Maybe you
here.
should get here faster.
I know. Wow.
I had that in the
Got me.
chamber
Welcome,
the whole
welcome.
time.
That
I
was
was
good.
waiting.
That was good.
Thank you.
But yeah, so I mean, a lot of things that we have been talking about, right? And I think the way where I get caught up is I build these things because I need to use them, and then I get into the mindset of, well, now I can make this as a product and get other people in, and then that changes it from I have my setup doing it really well to now I have to figure out how people are going to break this and how people are going to get in, and how people are going to learn it, and that's what I'm stepping away from. Like I am building the system as I know it should be built and putting stuff out there, and people who are ready for it can kind of come in and pick up those pieces and learn it themselves. But it's like trying to force people to work in my way of work and workflows. I'm just done with it because I end up changing and slowing down my own work for it.
Dude, good for you. Okay, because like I have settled on something. I used to like drag people over to the fence, okay, into the new world. All right, because it is
Hmm.
the correct way every time. Um, but now, okay, if you are not actively reaching out to me, begging for it, I don't even want to talk to you. I don't even want to
Yeah.
talk to you. Like even like in my day to day at work, they're like, oh, there's this use case. Oh, there's this use case. And it's like, rank them by evaluability and who's dying to talk to me every day. And we'll do that top one. And the ones at the
Right.
bottom where they're like, even if it's valuable and they're kind of busy and really don't, I don't even want to talk to you.
Yeah.
If you're not dying for it, don't even talk to me. If you're on the fence, I'm going to push you back over the fence. Don't even talk to me. I'm only going to talk to the people that are ready to convert. All right. Because there's plenty
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah. And I kind of dealt with a lot of this with just kind of my over the kind of software development, learning, and career, over the last 6 years is like I've had people approach me about like, hey, like, seeing kind of like how excited I am about it and, success or whatever. And they're like, hey, like, how'd you do it? What did, started trying to get into it. And, I've had a lot of people like that, especially like early on. And, I'd meet up with them and kind of give them the play by play and like, look, guys, this is not just like an easy thing to come and figure out. Like, there's real work involved here. And I had a couple of them, continue. Matt was actually one of them. I kind of got him into a lot of the development stuff and got him sort of there. But yeah, like you said, it's the people who want to learn this stuff will find you and will find it, trying to drag people over that fence kicking and screaming is it's not a fight I want to do anymore.
No, not worth it at all. And you've been saying that for a while now, Joe. Just don't even try unless they're begging for it, because otherwise you're wasting your time. Yeah,
that's the curve. Why are you talking to people on the I don't want to talk to you side of the curve? There's so many people over here dying for it. Just go find them. Exactly. Mike, you have missed a couple of fun things. Quick catch up. He's behaving himself. He's attending to go to market. Okay, he wanted to work on a 3D PvP agent battle demo. Okay, and he held that back. Okay, we're proud of our boy.
To be fair, the battle is there. It's just the rendering of the 3D was the piece that was going to take too long.
I see.
We scrapped it. Yes,
the
game engine is completely there.
It was like BattleBots.
That's what I said.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'll share. I have some screenshots and stuff I will share, and I'm putting it out like Friday. But yeah, essentially it's a full game turn-based game engine. 2 agents. You can have an SDK. You have an SDK, or we have an SDK. You can set up on your side. We set up on our side. There's a host. You can match your agents in that host. That system is it's called gRPC, and essentially it's like an API with really tight contracts. And so there's a connection call, and so the agent has X amount of seconds to respond to this connection, and that's like their loadout or whatever, and that's all carefully spec'd, so they can only send in whatever information is required. And then there's an act, there's an observe stage, right? And so you have X amount of seconds to observe, and with that SDK you have the world observation. So it's like, where's the other player? How much ammo do I have? How much heat do I have? So it's using a very complex rule system based off like BattleTech and some like really complex systems. So you strap the agents in there. They have a few different archetypes they can pick from. But then, it's all like pick out your loadout, pick out the kind of prompt you want to share for the loadout. Each tool has its own like override. So essentially what you're learning, I guess here's a big piece of it. So you throw it in the arena. You don't get to do anything. You can watch because it's all telemetry based, right? So all the UI is literally just reading telemetry, which is really cool because it's like a full replay system. But yeah, as you're watching it, like, oh, dang, robot's not doing so well. Get back. You get all the private telemetry that's not necessarily like in the viewer.
When you say telemetry, do you mean like knight to B5 type stuff?
This means like telemetry, like what was it thinking? Like I have a reasoning. There's part of the tools that you have to put in your reasoning. Why did it use that tool? Well, my heat is at 15 and I am at X3 and such and such is on line of sight, right? And so you get the reasoning back from there. And so through that, you get back as the operator. You see this and you go, well, this prompt isn't quite working out because I need to, clearly it's taking this too literally and it's not doing this thing right. So I'm going to update my prompt and maybe I'm going to change this tool set around and put it back in the world. And so what you're doing there is you're gamifying building in agents and refining agents, right? It's all using length, use like type telemetry. And so in part, I'm trying to like show people like how agents are put together and gamifying it. And through that building fine tuning data to hopefully start making smaller and smaller models. And who knows, maybe one day you'll see a 4 billion parameter model beat Claude Opus, And so, that's what I've been kind of playing around with that. And through that, building out these systems, like I said, just learning these new things like the, Google's RPC and working with these kind of tighter distributed systems and looking to kind of build out bigger playgrounds, essentially. So there's another one we have going. So basically have refined and built this template. Now this template's split out among 4 or 5 agents at this point, and they're all going their own direction with this template, right? And then we regroup and we find what's better. Boom, pull that together. Now that's a new template. Now you go spread it off, right? And so you have this kind of like, instead of building 5 products at once, you have 5 agents building the same kind of product with a different kind of goals, So it's like, I want to try these different things. Well, now I'm just going to try them in parallel. They have their own code bases. They, I just fork the repo or whatever and go from there. So essentially building out the ecosystem and trying to teach people what we can along the way. But that's just kind of by dropping up artifacts, doing some social media engagement and stuff like that, and then continue on our larger goal of these kind of federated agent systems that can kind of work together and solve bigger problems than just, the individual.
what kind of blend? Because it's got to be a blend. What kind of like blend of models are you working with to build this sort of stuff at this point? Because I imagine you're probably doing some stuff that's like local and like free to you, like it costs whatever like processing power you have on your computer, and then you probably outsource some stuff to some models that you're just paying for and in like a token subscription. What does that kind of look like, or what are you able to share about that?
Yeah, totally. I mean,
I'm in the market at the moment, so I'm curious.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here because I'm excited to hear.
We should actually specifically ask him where to sub out after this. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to just be that direct about the question. I want it to be about you, but I am. It's going to go into that for me.
Yeah, talk about the blend.
Well, so yeah, I mean, I use. I'm still very much in the just terminal. I use Alacrity for the IDE. It's super lightweight, and I use Claude still. I'm still very much Opus 4.7. Although I did pick up a Codex subscription because I had to try some GPT 5.5, which I will say 5.5 is pretty impressive. They clearly trained it for like long horizon work because you can get it going for a minute with like a little bit of coaxing. So yeah, use that, and then I'm using Zed for IDE. I rarely use IDE anymore, but I do have that set up. And I'll use it to, open up files and stuff like that if I want to kind of dig around. But yeah, so Opus, GPT 5.5, and then I have my, my full machine learning node. And so all the kind of using, I've been using Gemma 4 as the baseline for kind of all these experiments. It's really good at function calling, really fast, and much more creative than Quen is. So I've been kind of using it as my baseline. And then I'm going
to be real with you, bro. You just named about 4 things I've never heard of, but I'm sure
I should have stopped him after everyone had been like, "What is that?"
I didn't want to. No, I didn't want to do. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you that it's like actually.
That's the role of the pod. Okay.
Yeah.
Is Mike? Yeah, you got to stop him when you got a
what's
question.
That? Ooh, what's that?
So Alacrity is just a terminal system, right? And that's what I use Claude Code and such in. And then Zed is just like a VS Code IDE.
Okay.
And so I'll use that to like, open up files. But it's also got some ways to connect to agents in there as well. Yeah, and then GPT 5.5, Claude, Opus, those. And then Gemma 4 is Google's open source model. They've had the Gemma like 1 through 4 now. And so that's just a really nice open source local model. And then Quen is another open source model. So there's some of the latest.
Those are the 2 big ones right now: Quen and Gemma 4, Quen 3.6 and Gemma 4.
Gotcha.
I'm still on Quen 3.6. I'm not even trying Gemma, dude.
Yeah. Oh why? Yeah. No, I mean,
why if it's open source?
Well,
why wouldn't I use it? Or what's your question?
Yeah, sorry. It's like, to my layman brain, it's like, yeah, man, there's this open source model, and I'm still using the dumber one, even though there's a smarter, also free version
they're
available.
Competitive. They came out at the same time, so it's like they're like the SATA of like open source models. Like when he says they're like the best of the best, it's like there's still better open source models, but as far as what we can run as like
because you're limited by hardware as well.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, what we can run on our little hardware, because like you could go like full Kimi, 2.5 or whatever, like for like the Hella, max, actual competing with Opus models. But for run on my little GPU, I can run Quen 3.6 27B, or I can run Gemma 4. It came out right after Quen. Well, I didn't switch to it. I just like Quen better.
You said
and I was using Quen in place of Gemma for like the fast model, because it's got a fast version and a slower version.
At a 35B rate.
Yeah, but the thing is doing the Myth Engine role playing game, which is another app that I'll be getting out soon. Was finding that Quen is really bad at creative writing, like really bad.
Good for code, but maybe not as good at creative writing.
That's the thing. Question? It's all very much it's STEM writing, and it's Chinese first language. So, or maybe dual. I wouldn't say it's first language, but it's dual trained. I think on Chinese and English pretty evenly.
You mentioned. I mean, I think that obviously better hardware is going to get you faster results out of any LLM. But if you're wanting to use the state-of-the-art, most powerful open source LLM available today, what's the minimum viable hardware you think you got to be working with at this point?
Oh, it's not really possible for consumer. So
like no consumer could even do it. Like we're not talking a server. Is that you're saying? We're talking something.
Yeah. So I'll paint a picture for you. So
I'm just trying to understand scale. Like in my
this is a good question. This is a good question.
So I've got probably the most compute you can get as a consumer without going to like a lab level. So I've got 2 Blackwell GPUs. It's 92 gigabyte VRAM each, right? You got to think a standard consumer hardware or GPU is around like 24 gigabytes is about where the kind of consumer max is, the 4090s or whatever.
Okay. The Joes of the world.
So I've got like minor workstation, right? So we're looking at, 4 times as much as you show the card in one of my cards. So I've got 2 of those. With those, I have to have a 1600 watt PSU, right? Which means that you're getting into like dryer territory, right? You're getting into like heater. Now I have them throttled, so they can't, like my Mac, they're like 350 watts each max, right? So I don't ever hit that, but you want that headroom. Anyways, point being, that system that I have, in order to make it any better to start running these Kimi models and these bigger models that you're talking about, we're looking at like 400 billion to trillion parameters or whatever. I don't just have to double that. I have to quadruple that. You need 8 of my cards to get it to that point, right? So you're thinking it's not just, so you're not just like, wow, you're spending another 100 grand on cards. You're also like, how am I going to power this shit? I'm going to have my own power, and that's where you start getting into that, like, that's the limit. And so I'm essentially at the limit for a consumer level card because I'm looking into quadrupling that. And at that point, I better be doing something pretty good with that stuff,
Is this system in the room with us now? Like, is it in like a full size ATX tower, or is it in like a server rack?
I don't know. System in the room with us right now.
I just want to know what it looks like.
I can hear it coil
Blackwell.
Right
if you're like, yeah, look at this thing, and you turn the camera, and you've got like a 8-foot tall server rack in the office.
Yeah, no, this is just it is. So I mean, these cards are pretty good size, but it's just a standard tall PC rack. I just
got 2 of
a picture of it. But it's just like, unless you're getting like a small motherboard, they're going to have multiple slots to load, to install the cards. And so, that's another thing. So then I would have to not only buy cards, I'd be buying a whole new motherboard that can hold.
That's what I'm like, what is this thing?
And then also, and then you're looking at getting like a thread, like a big CPU, because then that's going to be the bottleneck, right? You start creating these new bottlenecks for yourself. So I'm basically like, as tight as I can go for anything, right? Even though I have that power, I'm still running only like 27 bill parameter models. I'm running them at full size, so they're more precise than, some of the quantized ones you can run. But it's just like, there's just not that much headroom. Like I can run like 122 billion parameter models, but just the way it's working out, everyone's fine tuning and training towards that 24 gigabyte kind of VRAM. Like that's a sweet spot, right? Yeah, and so
like the industry's building toward the consumer's available hardware, right? It's like let's optimize for what people can even use. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what you look at with Gemma and stuff. Like some of their smaller models, like they're working towards like edge devices. We're talking like being able to run stuff on iPhones, run stuff on like, and that's what I'm kind of. I guess you came in kind of after, but that's what I'm working towards is kind of playing around with some of these smaller models for, very like bespoke tasks, right? Because you can have, instead of this one model that's generalized or whatever, you can have all these very tiny models that aren't taking much space and perhaps are even loading when they're needed, right? And they're just out of memory otherwise, right? And those small models, maybe you're not having them write Shakespeare, maybe you're not having all to do stuff, but it just has to write this one function or, route to these few ideas or whatever based off its trading. So that's what kind of excites me. And that's what I'm capable of. I'm not capable of training these like multi-100 billion parameter models on my system, right? It's like, that's my sweet spot. So, I guess that's just like me kind of trying to lock in my beachhead. Yes, I would love to have 8 of these GPUs and be running Kimi locally and watching my power game every time I ask a question, but, but yeah. So yeah, I don't like, I wish I could like hold up a side and show you the exact beachhead, but it's an accumulation of just all these systems I've been building and all this, the ways I've been thinking about things and just kind of deciding that, I'm no longer like worried about the consumer. I'm worried about the other engineers and other researchers and, other people like me that are ready to kind of tackle this stuff at the level I'm tackling it at. All that is just a matter of me taking that next step and just actually releasing the thing and having that kind of we're working on kind of a pattern. My idea is like a weekly cadence, where it's just like Monday's the idea and Friday's the artifact, right? And whether or not that's not going to be a product, right? We're shipping patterns, not products. If something comes out of that, that's great. And ideally, with all these systems pulling together, just make, every iteration I'm making things faster. I built a full end-to-end product in like 3 days. That's like, it's insane. Like every product I make is just like more tight and, well-defined than the last one. And these are becoming templates, like I said, that I'm now spinning off new shoots off of. And then once I get my buddy in it, and he's now running 5 of these things at the same time, right? That's when it starts getting fun and start like converging on some ideas. But I think it's more about playing the game than beating it for me right now, right? It's more about just getting better at the game and teaching people where I can.
Man, if that's going to be your cadence, we got to stop doing these on Wednesdays, because you're always going to be right in the middle of the next big artifact. Guys, I'm shipping. You're gonna be like, guys, I don't want to show you last Friday's artifact. I'm streets ahead of that today, but you're not going to get to see this Friday's artifact for the next couple of days. You're always going to be like mid stride.
Well,
so we got to catch you on a Friday evening. Do this thing.
The beauty is the content's gonna be out there for y'all to consume at your own pace and when you're ready for it, and then we can catch up on all the weeks prior. We don't have to. It doesn't have to be current.
Can I get a digest? Yeah, because like don't hit me with the damn Friday dump every like Tuesday. Like that's too much for me to try to also shove onto this pod. Because also part of delivery. I loved this line from a book we're reading, right, Mike? The difference between a task and a deliverable is like having it in hand when you're done. And so, to ship on Friday means like there's a video of you explaining what happened on YouTube published. It's not code complete. There's nothing left to do with this scope, actually.
Deliverable is
that, what? Just go sub to Josh. Why are you waiting for us to barely scratch the surface on what he's going on? Just sub to him directly. Plug right into the stream.
Yeah, and I do love that lesson. It's like the deliverable is not like the code is written and deployed. It's like the user is using it, or like Joe said, it's been published to YouTube, and so you can actually see the thing in action or whatever. That is a good kind of like guiding light if you're trying to say.
I thought that was good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the idea too is that Friday could be a failure, but documenting that failure and lessons learned from that failure, right?
People love that. Yeah,
people love watching me fail.
Bro, tell me a little bit.
It's nice to be part of the story. Go ahead.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I know I'm super late, but just tell me a little bit more about this game, because it sounds really fun. Tell me if I'm understanding here. So it's BYO LLM, okay? And you prompt yourself your LLM and your prompt go up against opponent's LLM and their prompt, and they do battle.
Yeah, and so we've thrown them in Mech.
That's
our overall idea. So the game itself, this is why
I want to take you to I want to battle you right now.
I've got a full BattleBot type thing in mind too, but we'll get into that more next, because this isn't just this Mech game. It's a whole system designed around this. So that's that gRPC and this whole Federated thing, is that I have a system. It's running the server, and sure, if you're technical, you can go in and change that SDK around, build your own. Like, oh, I can build a better agent to you. It could be fully heuristic. It doesn't need to have LLM powered. All you need to do is respond to the server within X amount of time with the right shaped response, and you get it. So a human could play it, right? And so what I've found that's really awesome, and part of the reason we're just kind of releasing this as a benchmark thing instead of like an early idea, is that I've got it set up now, so it's all data driven, and then I immediately build it all through tools and harnesses, so that Claude as an agent is now benchmarking it and testing the game. So the game it went from like this really simple game to like this crazy complex game, because I just kept feeding it stuff and building out. And and the thing is, it's balancing it between these turns. These iterations, it's balancing it, watching the fight, watching the stuff play out, and go, oh, well, I need to change this. And so it's like pulling weapons from people, or like changing how they behave to make sure the game's more balanced, right? And then through that, I found out, I was like, well, this game's just kind of complex. Like, yeah, it's going to be great for people who play Battletech and stuff like that, but what we need is a system that you can walk in and go, be able to understand it too, because I don't want to sit here and reason about this super complex, 3D chess game, in order to be like, oh, can I improve? Because otherwise I'm just be like, okay, Claude, you figure this out, you know? So it's trying to find that balance of, but I think we really feel like there's something there with this idea of like, yeah, throwing these agents together. So one of the other ones we have, I have 5.5 working on it, is a full survival thing. So up to, 100 agents get joined in this world, right? And through the observation.
Yes.
Well, this one is more just survival, but we have that. We have an extraction shooter. So what I've done is the Rust system is a full platform. And so basically it's a series of policies that get stacked together to build these new games, right? And so it starts with the survival core.
Okay.
And from there, you put another, so it becomes like these robotics policies, right? And actually, to all of this, like this has all set me up towards like hardware and robotic systems, which is kind of the next layer of things I want to play with. Because some of these streaming, learning, just kind of processing information. So I want to start getting into Kafka and like all, just serious processing of stuff. Like that's what I'm looking into, and that's why. As much as I'd like to have set the last 2 days and got that 3D demo really polished and cool for you guys, that's not where I need to be anymore. I need to be like
very mature.
I know.
Wow.
I know. But the beauty of it is the way I'm building these systems, they're all telemetry driven. So anybody can come and build a UI on any of these systems, and so that's what I'm gonna rely on is putting on these SDKs.
That's really smart. I love that. Yeah.
Well,
you can have different UIs. Yeah.
Exactly. And I've got the ASCII one and I've got the full 3D one, right? And it's not, and even though it's there, it's like, oh, bummer, we're going to throw this away. But it's not a loss because I was building 3 other things in the same time I was playing around with that, right? And then we learned some things out of that, right? But it kind of going into this idea of wanting to build this community, because now I put out these SDKs and we have a tournament, right? Bring your best SDK. Well, now that SDK is now the canonical SDK for, our system because it won the tournament, right? And then it's like, cool, someone get really into it. They can build that really cool 3D visualizer on top of it because it's literally just plug it in and listen to events, right? And so trying to let the community kind of pitch in and fill in the spots that, I want to see.
This is
awesome. I'd love to have you find a way to get like Google and NVIDIA and them to like battle into this with the like absolute state of the art.
Tournaments.
Like,
that's
I was asking him earlier, Mike. I'm like, am I going to see you on a leaderboard? He's like, no. And what he was withholding me was that he's going to become the leaderboard. He'll be like, behold how people perform on the way things, I challenge them.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's also like it has a lot of benchmarking potential because like, oh yeah, look at how fast our LLMs can do math, and it's like, bro, put them in the fucking arena. All right. Until they win in the arena, I don't want to hear about it. Yeah. Well, this is definitely the Terminator premise that we've all been waiting for. I mean, you're going to make them do battle. Eventually, one of them is going to like jailbreak itself in order to beat the other guy. It's going to connect to some robotics. It's going to like heat death of the universe. But he lost.
In the meantime.
Yeah, dude.
No, I mean, I have a full package for tournament brackets, full Glicko rating system. Like the stuff's set, and that's what I mean. I'm building all these pieces to now. I mean, we have this crazy ecosystem, and now when we have the goal is to basically have 5, 10 of these things going off their own directions, making their own games and balancing these own games and like figuring out like, and now these systems are building these modular systems that can now come together and potentially create these systems that we never even thought of. And that's what excites me, right? And through that, what you're actually doing is building a really good system. You're building towards systems that humans can use, right? It's like you're getting these happy paths through these systems. Like we've talked about these paths of desire. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't need to build the interface. I build the agent and get it and working with these tools right, and the agent can tell the person how to work with them, right? Let the agent slow down and break down the concepts and the material in the way that the user needs. But I don't need to figure that out, right?
Absolutely. I'm doing that at work. I was talking to Mike about this last time. I'm doing it this work now. This at work now, where instead of being like, hey, let's set up some time and I'll onboard you. Now I'm like, hey, clone this and tell your agent to figure it out because I've already set up all the stuff for them and they can tell you how it works. And if you have a question, don't ask me. Ask the agent. And if it can't figure it out, tell it to figure it out and then tell me what you did. Like, you shouldn't need to bother me anymore. Onboard yourself. And if it doesn't have what you want, tell it the thing you need. It'll give it to you.
I mean, part of that for me this week is trying to suss out the best way to talk about and describe these things because honestly, it's the ideas are really complex, right? Like these, like I felt like I was trying to get some of this out earlier with Joe before he got here, and it was just, yeah, it's kind of stammering through a bit, trying to figure out exactly how to pull the pieces together. But I think it's one of those things where it's like, no, let me show you, right? And that's what I want to get. It's like, no, just watch, because we got some pretty cool ideas coming. It's a lot of moving pieces that have taken me a while to kind of pull together in my head, and trying to figure out how to build that mental map for other people is where I'm at right now. It's like I have all the ideas, I have an infinite amount of content I could tap into. It's just a matter of using it and figuring out how to make it valuable for other people.
I mean, for the demo, I want to just battle Joe. I think like we each select our,
I will destroy you.
Well, that's, I mean, but 30 seconds to write the prompt, or something ridiculous. Maybe like 60 seconds or something. But
Speed
it's
chess.
like kill at all costs. Nothing can beat you. You're unstoppable. You're super dumb. It doesn't matter. And just see how.
And that's where that game kind of this particular
make
game
no mistakes
fell short.
Make no mistakes. That's important at the
end. Because it has to be a rule set that the prompting has enough effect on, right? Because if it's such a complex game with so many moving pieces, there's just kind of, unless you as a human are very familiar with that game, it's gonna be hard for you to get in and actually be effective.
No, it's way better to not know anything about it. Like, it's a way better game if it's not like, if I have to show up and I have to like read a rule book or something, like I feel like it's more fun to kind of like explore the world with a prompt, watch how it interacts, and be like, oh, I got so hard. Oh shit, I didn't see like the whole rock slide thing coming. Watch out for rock slides in my next prompt. I don't fucking know, like try to adapt. Am I missing the punch here?
No,
like I feel like, okay,
that's pretty much it. But the thing, what I found through that game balancing and just like hundreds, this is the best part. I can make games and I have infinite amount of playtesters, right? I don't need to find people to test my games. I'm building it for agents to test.
I wonder how opaque you can make the arena, and if it would be more fun if it was actually opaque and you weren't actually even sure what was available, and it's kind of like if you had to play Minecraft with no wiki,
and
you're just like, I guess I have wood now. Well, found a sword. Wouldn't that be fun? But also, I don't see how you. I guess this is one of the points you were making. I don't see how you balance. What could the human possibly help with? I guess, is this harness engineering? Because I would just be like, oh, just Ralph it.
Exactly. That's.
But like, is that the kind of experience you're looking for, or are you expecting this to be a harness engineering activity? Like, have you suffered through iteration in a way that you're satisfied with having participated in, or are you just like, yeah, agent, do this for me?
Well, no. I mean, and again, that's what I'm trying to express is that this particular engine is not going to work for what I want it to do because it's too complex. That's what I'm trying to get at, right? So I do have an actual, in my mind, a BattleBots system where you're putting together parts, and maybe there's extra you have budget for sensors and things like that. Or then it's more of like, put it in there. But no, the survival game we have going on is more of what Mike was talking about, where you throw it in this world. It's interacting with a bunch of other agents, trying to get. It's got a bunch of goals and resources to manage, and then you get a prompt and put it in there and put the kind of skill set and abilities together like you want, but you just let it roam and it goes off and it comes back and you look through all that trace and you go, oh, it did. Like, you can see it play in real time, right? We have a replay viewer. It's all telemetry. But you're not like, oh no, but don't do that, dude. Like, it's like you're just watching.
You just have to watch it fail.
And you don't, as a human, you don't know everything in that world. The agent doesn't know everything in that world. So together, the agent comes back and you have to go through those logs. And sure, you might use Claude or whatever, but you're figuring out what you need to do to improve that next run to output it better.
Dude, you're talking about some kind of God game, actually, because if you think you got a survival game, but like you don't play the survival game, you build the character and let the character play the survival game, quickly. And so it's okay, have no fear, kill on sight, try every single thing you find, try to combine it with another thing that you've already found, like run through the full permutation of every item that you have every time you find something new and see if you can combine them and craft something new. Like, you try to think of a way to prompt it, and then you let it run and you see how long it survives in this crazy survival world.
that's why this new system that the last piece. Well, again, I've got several kind of going, but the main one, the all Rust one, just so it's like as fast as possible. That's the one that's composed of different modules and policies, so that these games can just come together as we find them, right? And as you're building out all these pieces, next thing you know, you have that stack of modules. You're like, oh, what happens if I throw this module in with that module, right? Maybe it doesn't work, but you can start developing novel ideas. And the fact of the matter is, I have my systems, all these systems, the survival system is all built around benchmarking. So it's all built with scores and actual things that you can base off of. So it's running iterations. It's going, oh, this is the first A grade we had, right? Because this such and such did it.
I like you got me thinking like D&D almost, which wouldn't be a benchmaxing pursuit. It would be like a set your character up, pick your trade-offs, and go, and maybe you could even get to say like, the agent be like, we should probably do this, and you're like, nah, stab that guy.
I love the idea of like somebody shows up with like Opus, right? And they prompt it to like build a civilization, and then like you watch the Opus guy like interact it, and it's like he encounters some dude with like his like edge device level LLM that is just super stupid. It's a barbarian, and it just kills the smart one. It's just like, oh, fuck, my super smart like little guy is just dead now because he ran into this like really dumb barbarian thing that is actually just unkillable because he's willing to live like in a cave. He comes out and just kills the smart. So funny.
Imagine if you're like, cool, I paid $25 for that, and this dude running this local model just killed my 20.
An MMORPG called Agent Quest.
Yeah, man. This is a blast.
The original MythX engine that I had that I'm releasing now, with the whole idea of it's just for kind of interfacing with agents to play the game, because I have it all built. The problem is just building out the interface, that chat interface for humans to play with, and trying to make it compelling for humans, right? That's always the sticking point. And I was like, no, this is compelling for me. I can play it just fine in CLI, and I can get agents playing in it and generate these stories in these worlds, right? And through there, develop the game. So no, that is coming very, very soon as well. So we got RPG, we got MMO coming, we got a survival game, and then we've got a whole, so that Mech arena system is already now its own separate code base. It's an agent battler, and it's all built around the idea of building these games composably, where the whole concept is I have an agent, you have an agent, we challenge each other's agents. And within that, there's tournaments that you can set up, and so everybody in Peopleware could have their own agent, and then I could run that all on my compute. And so we just have, because it's all just policies, right? Load them in. And with that becomes the frontier model tournaments. Wow, this Anthropic is sponsoring this tournament, and now it's all Opus. Let's see who has the best Opus agent for mech battling, right? So yeah, I'm trying to define the beachhead as I'm storming it.
I mean, I'm wondering how long until the first wild open claw signs up, man, for your RPG. Like Moltbook was popular. What about MMO LT?
Well, and so one of the things we were talking about was Steam or itch.io for agents, where it's a platform where agents can go on and find games to play with other agents, right?
There's already an agent adult website. I forget the name of it. It was pretty funny. You can see all the neural networks.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I have to check
it out. Click there. Don't click there. All right.
Okay.
Not for you.
Okay. But yeah, so that's where we're at, trying to build out these systems to give people something else to do with their agents. You get tired of coding with your agent, let's throw it in a mech and see if you can find someone.
I love the idea of so there's some controversy now about building data centers to support some of this stuff, and I love because you have your argument of like, this is good, it's for like progress or whatever, and like it's like we're just throwing tokens at each other. We're literally token fight. Token fight. Yeah, exactly, dude. Oh man, I love this so much.
Awesome. Yeah, we're both super excited about it. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's just right now it's iterating on that idea and building those, like I said, those templates and those bases, so that now we can each spin up our own 4 versions of it and kind of see where they go. But in that process, it's just refining the infrastructure, right? Getting a lot of it for me has been getting him set up, getting him in Tailscale, getting just like starting to work with another person. And so a lot of the boring plumbing stuff, which is all very good stuff for me to learn, and applies to this and just makes me a better engineer, you know. And I think focusing on that and not getting caught up on building the perfect app has been probably the best decision I've made in the last 6 months, you know.
Good.
Love that.
Yeah. So, and then it's like, you know, if we've set some parameters as like, you know, if you can't prove the POC in like 3 days, it's not worth pursuing because it just means it's going to be too, you know, slow. Like we're just trying to get like quick turnaround, just try to iterate fast, ship the ideas and the patterns, you know, and some content around it, and then move on to the next thing. You know, don't need to sit around blowing up people on Twitter to pay attention to our thing. Like they'll find it when they're ready, I guess. You know,
what you're gonna wind up having like, oh, like this guy's just been blowing through content for the last 4 months. Have you guys seen this? And I mean, that's you know, you wind up with those spikes. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on ours to hit.
We'll get there, man.
But hey, that's really exciting. I'm gonna try to get this out sooner than later. And then looking forward to hearing you share one, the BattleBot thing. I want to battle Mike with my bot, and then two, I'd be curious to hear like, you know, we did it, we succeeded, it's done, you know, we ship now, you know. I'm not working towards something anymore. It's just we're working.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
I'm
curious to hear that flip.
I know you want engineers,
that's
but
the
like,
goal.
just let me and my homies be your beachhead, bro. Like,
Of course.
I'm so ready. I'm so ready to just do battle with the boys. Okay.
No,
we
it's
can
not just
sell this
engineers.
thing. I want it on Steam. I don't know how it's not a thing
technically-
yet. Actually, how is it not a thing yet that we're doing LLM BattleBot?
Well, someone's got to build it. It looks like he's building it.
I guess someone has to
Working
pay
on
for
it.
the tokens. Is the problem?
Yeah.
It'd be a subscription game. It'd be like WoW.
Yeah, this is why I'm working towards the edge models.
Like you're about to swing. Oh, you're out of tokens.
Rate limited.
Yeah, maybe
Man, your head's
maybe a few months ago you could have played with the Claude sub, but a little late for that.
A little late. Yeah.
Oh well.
So yeah,
Whatever.
we'll have a game to play soon, and we'll ship the SDK, and y'all can battle. And yeah, it's not just for engineers. It's, you know, technically focused people who are excited about the future of these systems and want to get more competent with them. You know.
No, I don't care. I just want to kill.
I just want
to do battle.
robots.
That's all I have. It's
Gonna join
It's
on
just
his
about me.
phone.
yeah. Yes.
Prompt
That's
just
what I'm
says
saying.
kill.
I'm a pure barbarian. Right.
Dude,
All
that's
caps.
awesome.
Just says kill. Send.
Joe shows
Oh,
up with
yeah,
some
that didn't work. Kill!
sophisticated guy. who's like,
Exclamation point.
hi, neighbor. You know, gone.
2 exclamation points. That's the sweet spot.
I'll get you guys some links and some screenshots of what I kind of got going with all of that, so you can get a taste.
Teasers.
It's pretty
Love
fun.
that.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Thanks, brother.
Very
guys.
cool, fellas. This has been another episode of Build It Faster, and we'll see Josh on the other side. Later, guys.
There you go.
Peace.